Amen. Thank you. Okay. We again are so grateful to Sir Richie. First of all, thank you again, Sam, for creating a platform to connect cricket and life. Um, and I'm a person who always loved to grow in leadership, and I've always desired more than anything else that, and to connect with leaders of such high level was never I dreamed about it. But here we are with some of the greatest leaders. I hope you can see my screen here. Um, so again, Micah Cricket Club, again, I want to shout out to Sam for writing the book, The First 10 Runs in Singles. I want to thank people who have taken that and used it. People like Victor. Um, Thank you again, coaches Tino, Gary, who have played at a very high level, um, and being able to still use the book. Thank you, Coach Vernon. You gave me the opportunity. You, when I was looking for somebody to write a forward for the book that I've written yet not published, something on T20 cricket, life and leadership lessons. I was looking for somebody, and I checked with so many people. Um, from Sri Lanka was my first friend who said I may be able to get it from Kumar Sangakkara, but it never happened. And then we tried through India, Ashwin, and then I contacted Coach Vernon, and he said, "I'll give you a number. I'll give you a couple of numbers. Why don't you call?" I said, "Who am I to call them?" And it was just a simple WhatsApp call and I was shocked when Sir Richie responded because I made four different calls or four different messages, but one person responded. And it shows character. It's something that we want to learn because of the roots that he comes from. And I want to recommend to you this book that Denzel Williams has beautifully written, but there's a lot of Sir Richie's own statements, with which I want to begin. Um, so I want to start here, sir, by reading this. Cricket took a black boy from the small village of Five Islands. How many of you have heard of Five Islands? Probably nobody, because it had 400. It had 400 people. Oh, he's actually showing us.
It's a small
That's
village down that side, down there, not far away. Small little village on the western side of the island.
wow.
Mhm.
So 400 people in population when he was growing up, and gave him the opportunity to travel all over the world and meet people from all walks of life, from celebrities to prime ministers to millions of Caribbean diasporas in the countries we played in, who found a renewed sense of identity. Please note that he found a renewed sense of identity, belonging, and I love this, from our presence and performance. From our presence. Now, that caught my eye because leadership is presence before it becomes an influence. He learned it from his father, and I read the book, the whole thing, in probably 3 hours. From a curious child, making of a leader, from a curious child following daddy around until age of 6 when he lost his dad, to a hardworking, responsible teenager, and you must read the story, please. Um, Farmer, fisherman, vendor, selling his fish to help his mother, who was the sole breadwinner. And he's going to tell some of that story. Bar waiter, to a dependable leader that he became a primary, middle school, high school captain, prefect, ambassador for the game, for the sport, outstanding cricketer. I think he should have played a little longer. Batsman, fielder. Now you're going to see a surprise, and a skipper. caring family man,
And a bowler.
bounce. Oh yeah, medium pace bowler. I forgot that. Grandpa, brother, extended family, to a homemaker, handyman, carpentry work around the house, electrical work around the house, building projects, to an enterprising entrepreneur, Richie Rich Sports and Leisure Company, wholehearted coach and mentor. 4 nights academy with the other 3 nights, Sir Viv Kirtley, Kirtley, and Sir Andy Roberts, who was my hero when I was growing up. Striving for excellence, a philanthropist, band musician, a rhythm guitar player along with Sir Kirtley, and now an ICC elite, Emirates elite coach member panel. We are so honored to have you. Could you please share with us what character trait that connects all these roles that you have taken responsibility for? Would you share
Well,
with us?
that's a very, very big question, and I'm not sure if I've got the answer for that. But I like to think that my mother, well, my father, before he died, and my mother played a massive role in instilling certain values in me, and these values guided me throughout my life. Um, they taught me to be manageable, to be respectful, to be hardworking, and to be focused. They encourage me, look, you have to have friends, you have to have with your friends, but it's more important to be doing something positive rather than to be hanging out on the block, on the streets, just doing nothing. So from a very early age, I developed that ability to focus on what I wanted in life. And from a very early age, I always wanted greatness. And I don't know why. I just wanted to be great at anything that I did. And I also wanted to affect people. I wanted to be a scientist because I love science, I love nature. And I believe that if I were to become a scientist, then I could make a positive contribution to the development of humanity in general. So I started out when I secondary school wanting to be a scientist, but of course, sports was embedded in my genes. We played 6 months of football and 6 months of cricket. So I was playing sports short my life as a kid. And of course, I loved it. And I wanted to be the best. I used to always hang out with the older guys for some reason because I figured out that if I hang out with the older guys, then I would learn more. I'd become better. I would develop faster. And so I started doing that. My mother wasn't happy because she thought that I would get injured playing with the men. And I assured her that, Mom, don't worry about me. I can handle them. And that's how I excel. And I told myself, yeah, if I can hold my own against the men and probably do better than some of them, I would achieve great things. And that's how I started out as a youngster. And then I can remember I might have been about 7 or 8 or so. And my mom had sent me to on a tour somewhere in the little village that we live in. And the West Indies were playing against Australia at the time. And back then we didn't have television. A few people had small transistor radios in the community. And almost every single person was glued to the few transistor radios that we had in the village at the time. And everyone was seriously excited. And I was sort of like wondering, why are they so excited? And, they were calling names and getting excited about Sobers and Hall and Griffith and all these guys. And then I said to myself, well, these guys must be doing something great for their country. Why people are so excited about them? And I said, I would like to be like that one day. I wanted to do something great for my country, for my people. And I started taking the game even more seriously. I started training harder. I started reading books when I got a chance to read books. I used to spend a lot of time going to the library and reading books about cricket and the history of West Indies cricket and Australia and England and so forth. And I just continued to grow. At the time, um, I think they stopped playing hardball cricket in the village. So we used to only play tennis ball cricket. So I grew up playing tennis ball cricket. We used to play in the streets. We used to play in the pasture next to my house. We used to play on the beach. We used to play everywhere. Every opportunity we got to play cricket, we would be playing cricket. We go to school, try to get to school early, play before classes start. During the breaks, we're rushing out under the field to see who can get to bat first. Lunchtime, rush home, get back early. cricket again. So, and then after cricket, of course, you go home, you do your schoolwork. I would look after my fish, do a little gardening, do homework, and then I went to the park next to my house, which is like what I call the field of my dreams. That's where I played my football, my cricket, and that's where I developed as a sports person.
Wow, lot there. One character trait, I didn't catch that. I know what's. I have listed a certain character traits that I
Mm.
found. What is that one thing that is keeping you going? I know the mother's influence, the father's
Well,
influence.
yeah, well, it's the burning desire to be the best, to achieve, and to want to represent people. I want to represent my country. You know, that inner burning desire to want to be good at whatever I do. And if I commit to something, I give 100%.
Mm.
And it's a lot of dedication, a lot of hard work, a lot of studying, a lot of thinking, because you're playing amongst your peers and you're doing things with your peers, and there are people who are as talented as you are even more talented. But it takes more than just talent for you to develop and for you to become the best. You have to work harder, you have to think smarter, and back yourself. You have to have that inner belief that you can achieve, you can conquer. If you don't have that inner belief, then you're going to struggle because it's so competitive out there. There's so many people who want to be the best, and they're doing whatever they take to be the best. So for you to succeed, you have to be strong. You have to have that inner motivation that you can be the best, you can beat the best, and just work hard and constantly believe in yourself. And when things are not going well, you have to coach yourself not to get frustrated. You have to keep, find ways and means of countering the difficult times. Try to figure out what you used to do when you were successful, and quickly regain that drive, that momentum that you need to keep going forward.
Mm. Thank you, sir. I'd like all the panel to ask you some questions. At several points, I'll call on. I want to ask Sam if you have a particular question in your mind that you would ask Sir Richie.
Tell us maybe how you got your first break
Mm.
play for the West Indies, because the West Indies at that time had a very talented team. Wouldn't have been easy for you to have first broken into the team. I'd like to hear uh, your experience with that.
Yeah, very good question. Yes, as a young boy, teenager, I knew I wanted to play for the West Indies. I believe that I could play for the West Indies. But when I looked at the team under Sir Clive Lloyd, I was saying to myself, how am I going to make this team? These guys are just too good. There's so many of them. There are a number of players in the region who were scoring centuries after centuries and still could not make the West Indies team. And then I was still determined, but I just keep saying, how am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? I'm going to have to perform so well, much better than everybody else. And then luckily, I think the Rebel tour to South Africa came on the scene, and a number of our top players went to South Africa. And of course, they weren't available to play in our regional tournament. And I said, yes, this is the opportunity that I wanted, and I'm going to grab it. I'm going to hold on to it very, very, very tight. So, um, my first season, I think I played one match against Barbados, and it was one match of the season. I was calling at the last minute for the Leeward Islands, and I scored 76 in the second innings, made duck in the first innings, and in the following season, I made two centuries. One the first match against Barbados, I made a century against the great Malcolm Marshall, Joel Garner, Sylvester Clark, all these guys. And then I went on to score another big 100 against Jamaica, Michael Holding, Patterson Walsh, all these guys. And then after that, that is when people started recognizing me and started saying, well, you must make the West Indies team. And that was in 1983. I almost got selected for the World Cup in 1983, but I'm glad I didn't, because I wanted to start in Test cricket, because I realized even back then that Test cricket is the ultimate, and that's where you need to develop your skills. And of course, I was selected to go to India at the end of the year, 1983, where I was selected to play my first test in Mumbai, Bombay at the time, where I made, I think, Dhaka won the first innings, 26 in the second innings, and then I was dropped. And of course, I was disappointed, but said to myself, I'm going to just continue to work hard because I want to get back in. And if I got back in, then I'm going to make sure I see my position in the team. Um, I got a chance the following year, Australia in the West Indies, and I think I played two matches in those days. Not boasting, but we used to finish most of the matches. We used to bat once, so I played in two test matches, batted once and failed, maybe 30, 20. And then I was going to be dropped for the third test match. And then Gus Logie, who was my very good friend, he wasn't feeling very, very well. And he decided, well, he's not going to risk playing if he wasn't 100%. So I got a chance. And I said to myself, well, that is the break I needed. And I thank Gus Logie for that. Even though I wasn't happy that he was ill, I thank him for giving me that opportunity because I said to myself, I'm not looking back. I scored a test century in that innings. And then I think I went on to score another century in the final test match. And that was it. Never got dropped for the West Indies again because I said to myself, I'm going to do whatever it took in order to stay in the team. And that's just what I did.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I did read about that unfortunate thing. You just brushed it past. I think what I read was that the first duck
Uh,
was not really an LBW, but it was given out. And how you handle that? Uh,
well, of course, I was shocked, to be honest, because the wicket was turning square. Shiv Ali Yadav off spin, and you guys who saw him play, he used to turn the ball square, even on a flat track. He would turn it square. So obviously the ball pitched well outside the off stump. So with it turning square, it's only going to go down the leg side. So I kind of came back on the back foot and played with the turn of placing the bat into my thigh, under the upper part of the pad. And I was surprised when umpire gave me out. But I said to myself very quickly, well, welcome to Test cricket. If this is what it's going to be like, I'm going to enjoy it because I'm going to work hard to overcome any challenges that I would have in the game. And so it was a motivational factor for me. I didn't despair. I didn't tell myself, well, I'm just going to give up. I'm not going to play anymore. I told myself it's going to be tough. So I'm going to dig in and work hard. So for me, it was a blessing in disguise.
yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. It's not easy to handle that kind of situation unless you have been prepped before at home. And once you see your journey in full, then you realize in that situation you were able to go back unconsciously to your roots where the humility came in play, and that's characteristic trait that I wanted to highlight. You're being very modest here, but I want to give time for Tinu and Gary. Please, if you have a question before I have another segment about him that I want to share, please go ahead. Whoever, yeah.
Hi, Richie. It's Gary Brencher.
I think, Gary.
Nice to see you. Richie, tell me, you obviously had a burning desire, a burning hunger to do well and just be the best version of yourself. My sort of question is do you in the West Indies now, do you see that same hunger? And if no, because I also feel that especially in Zimbabwe, the people that I coach, there's not as much hunger as there was. Whether that's through devices, I'm not sure. But what's your sort of experience with that?
Yes, I think we have that problem here in the Caribbean where I don't know, there are a lot of diversities and other things for the kids to look at. And for some reason, they don't seem to have that focus, that burning desire like we had back then. Of course, they want to play, but it seems like they're not prepared to dig deep to work as hard as we did. And perhaps maybe things come too easily for them, and that is why. So I really don't know how that can be fixed, but it is a problem with our young people when it comes to making that commitment. There's so much opportunities today in all sports, scholarships to go and overseas to do whatever you want to do. And, we didn't have that, and there's good money in sports today, but yet they don't seem to have that desire to go and give everything, that commitment where you have to give everything. They just want to just turn up and then it happens. So I don't know why that has happened. I don't know what made the change, but it's something that I think we have to look into. I constantly preach. Even up to last week, I had a meeting with the Minister of Education, and I told him we need to teach the heritage, sorry, the legacy and history of West Indies cricket in our schools, because the kids need to understand where we came from, what cricket meant to us, especially back in the early days. And so we can start educate them from a very, very early age. And that is why one of the reasons why I did this book with Dr. Denzel Williams to really put something out there for our universities, for our learning institution, because I think we have a role to play, and I don't think we were given the opportunity to really transcend what we learned and how we develop to the younger people. And that's a problem in West Indies for sure. So I'm not going to totally blame the youths. I'm blaming us, because we should have made sure that we have this transition where they understood what we went through, how we train, how we go about things, and what cricket really, really meant to us. And of course, there's so much money in the game, so I don't know if that's a distraction, if that's making people think that, well, okay, we're just going to turn up and make the money and that's it. But if that's the case, that's really unfortunate, because life is about competing. I spend a lot of time outdoors. I love the outdoors. I love animals. I love plants. And I watch the competition, even amongst grass. I spend a lot of time looking after my lawn, and I see grass competing against grass. So competition is part of life, and we have to learn to compete. And I find today some of our youngsters, they give up too easily. They're not prepared to go out there and die. You have to die. You have to be prepared to die in the middle. It's like going to war. The only way you're going to succeed is if you're prepared to die, so that you can give of your best, give everything that you've got. So yes, it is a problem. I still think we have a lot of talent in the Caribbean, but it's not going to be easy. We really need to find ways and means which we can you rebuild that culture in our cricket that we had many, many years ago.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Gary, for that. Very good question. And I think you're all there training the young people. Sir Richie, I don't know if you all played each other. Gary played under Andy Flower. Tinu played under Saurav Ganguly. But in any case, Tinu, what is your, do you have a question?
Sure. Yeah, really excited. Hi, Sir Richie. It's such an honor to have you with us today. I have two questions to you. One is, you took over captaincy from the great Sir Vivian Richards, if I'm right, in 1992, just after his retirement. So, I know you had a great team, and how was it to lead that side? Because we all looked up to that side, and we're all inspired by that side, the legends in that side. We're all inspired to take up cricket, watching them bat and bowl. West Indies cricket was at its top at that time. And so how was it leading that side? And then my second, and you had a great, captaincy career. You captained for almost 5 years, and you had a great record. I think you only lost against Australia, if I'm right. If I'm my second question is, you also had a tough phase in your career. That was, I think it was '96 World Cup. After that, which you retired also, and you said that you went through something, called chronic fatigue syndrome. Chronic fatigue syndrome, and you're tired and all those things. That's I read it, and somewhere. So, how did you overcome that too after your playing career? How did you overcome that stage of your life after stopping cricket?
Well, to answer your first question,
Yeah.
I no, as a youngster growing up, I never looked at myself as being a leader, even though I was always put in leadership positions. At school, I was prefect, head boy, captain of football team, captain of the cricket team. Even went on television to do this program called Top of the Farm. I was captain of my school team. And so people saw leadership in me, but all I wanted to do is to just go out there and perform, whatever I did. I captained combined school team here in Antigua as a teenager. And then when I got the captaincy of the West Indies, I didn't have much experience before that because I only became vice captain of the Leeward Islands team that same year. And Saviv was the captain. Saviv got injured in the first game and I took over. And we won every single game in the tournament, first time ever, and we winning the tournament for the first time ever. So all of a sudden people saw that I had something in me to captain. And I still wasn't really paying much attention to that because at the end of the day, all I thought I did was to really group the guys together and get everybody to play the role that they can play best and to believe in themselves and to work as a team. And that's all I did. Then suddenly I got a call from the West Indies Cricket Board towards the end of the year asking me if I would like to be captain or just saying that they would like me to be captain because Saviv obviously was going to retire. But he had retired. And I said, well, what happened to Desi? Because Desi was the vice captain. Desmond Haynes was the vice captain for a few years under Saviv. And everybody thought naturally that Desi would have assumed the captaincy. And Desi was my roommate, my very good friend. And I thought he was going to be captain. So I said, what happened to Desi? And they said, well, we're making a transition. We're looking to invest in younger players and we want a captain that's going to be here for much longer. And I said, well, Desi and I are very good friends and I just don't feel comfortable. So I said, anyhow, let me speak to my manager and I'll get back to you guys. So I called my manager and he said, well, look, that's a great honor. And then he said, look, I know you and Desi are very close, but it's not often that someone got the opportunity to captain a team. So you have to accept that. So I called him back and I said, yes, I was going to accept that. Of course, there was some friction amongst the players, especially the senior players, even some of those who had retired as well. But I took the responsibility and I was committed to it. And my approach was, look, if I can get everyone to work as a unit, we can be just as effective. And that's what my first speech to the team when I was captain. I said, look, we have lost some great players. We're obviously not as good as they were, but if we work together collectively and believe in ourselves, we can be just as successful. And that's how we started out. And we continue to do really, really well until towards the end, we lost to Australia and, things were breaking down a little bit. But it was not easy for me to step into the shoes of the great Sir Vivian Richards. As I said, I didn't have much experience captaining at a level before, but I was able to quickly analyze what was necessary in order to do well. And the most important thing was to get the support of all the players in the team. Let everyone feel that they're a part. Let everyone feel that they could contribute to the team. It wasn't a situation where it's going to be my way or the highway. It was all about the team. And I got good support from the guys, especially at the beginning. And we continue to do well, as you said. With reference to your second question now, it was just around that same time, because before I became captain of West Indies, I think I was the number one player in the world, number one batsman in the world. And of course, I was super popular all over the world. And of course, my hat, the Sir Richie Richardson hat, was very popular. And everybody wanted a piece of me. And of course, this other person that I am, I never said no to anyone. I wanted to share my experiences and moments with everybody, all the fans, because I always believe that without the fans, we are nothing. If we don't have the fans to support us, then what we're doing will be useless. So I always reached out to the fans, and I did it a bit too much because at one stage I did not have enough time for myself. I didn't have enough time for me to focus on my batting. And if you check the records, my average was about 50. And then once I became captain, my average started going down. And that was because, well, we didn't have the support staff like teams have today. All I had was a coach. Even before I had a coach, there was no coach, just a trainer. So as captain, it was like you were being coach, counselor, father, everything. So there's a massive responsibility. And me being the person that I am, I was just focusing on everybody else and not focusing on myself. And I realized that I wasn't practicing as much as I used to because I'm devoting my time and efforts to other people. And when other players are failing, I would spend a lot more time with them and really not paying attention to myself. And I think that contributed to my batting going down a little bit, plus the other stress and pressures of captain. So I believe it was just around that time that I started feeling really, really, really tired, but I didn't know what was wrong. I knew that I was working hard. I was never had a holiday, playing cricket 12 months a year when I'm not playing for the West Indies, playing in England, or going somewhere to play exhibition matches, whatever. So I was just constantly going with very little rest, very little time to recuperate. But I just thought that, look, I'm physically strong, I'm mentally strong, just keep going. And then I started feeling really weird within my body. I would be tired but can't sleep. And then I'll be on the cricket field and I'm doing everything to concentrate and I just can't concentrate. I'm feeling tired on the cricket field if I'm batting. Can you imagine you're batting and you feel like your eyes want to close when what I mean? It was kind of scary for me. And I kept seeing doctors all over the world and nobody could tell me what was wrong. They keep saying, well, maybe you have a virus or maybe you're just tired, whatever, whatever. And I think it was in 1992. I eventually saw a doctor in London, St. Mary's Hospital, Professor Mowbray. And he said to me, look, we believe that you are suffering with chronic fatigue syndrome. We're not sure. It's something new to us. We're doing a lot of tests. Usually there could be a virus associated with it as well. But we're not sure. But however, he recommended I took a break from the game. I was playing for Yorkshire at the time. And he said, look, you need to take a break from the game because if you don't, then it could seriously affect your health. So it was very difficult for me because I'm saying physically, I could run fast, I could bat, I could play, there's nothing wrong with me. And how am I going to say to these people? How am I going to say to Yorkshire that the doctor said I should stop playing? How am I going to say to the West Indies that I can't play for the West Indies anymore? So that was very, very difficult and very tough for me because I enjoy playing for my country, I enjoy playing the game, and I just wanted to keep playing. But I took the doctor's advice and I realized in the interest of my health, I really should take the break. So I cut the season in half, I think, at Yorkshire. And then but before that, I obviously wrote to the Western Street Board and then let them know what the doctor said. And they agreed. And I took about 6 months off, but I was still struggling. I was home in Antigua. The team was in India. And I just was really, really struggling because, I was still getting phone calls, people calling me, wanting to talk, different things. So I eventually decided I was going to go away where nobody would know where I was. So I went to Canada for a couple of months. Then I went on a cruise with my son. And I started feeling better because I was totally relaxed. And then I came back to Antigua and I started doing the things that I enjoy doing, which is one of the recommendations by the doctor, to do the things that you enjoy doing. So I started doing more, going back to spearfishing, which I used to enjoy, my gardening, playing a little bit of football. He said I should still exercise, but don't overdo. And I also went on a diet and I started feeling better and better and better. So by the start of the next year, I was feeling good enough to start playing again, and I started playing for the West Indies. But I never ever felt 100%. I would still struggle whenever I over exaggerate myself. I would still feel a bit tired. And then it become a chore. It started to become a chore. You're waking up in the morning, you want to go out there, you want to do well, and then your body not responding. I lost that drive. I want to be out in the field. And eventually I said to myself, well, it doesn't make sense continue to play because it's not fair to myself and it's not fair to my fans because they know that I have more in me. I know that I have more in me and I just couldn't give it. It was just tough. And even though I was working harder than before, I just could not do it. And I made that very difficult decision to retire. Actually, my long-term plan would have been to a year after that. But then after how I was feeling and what was going on, plus there were some issues within Western Spirit as well, which I would not get into, that also contributed in a sense. So I finally made this decision to the surprise of my fans and many people around the world. But I thought that for me, that was the best thing to do. All my life I've been selfless. And I thought for my best interest, for my health, I had to retire, and I made the decision.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. That's one of the questions that I had, but I'm so grateful that Tinu was able to ask. Is something that we all should learn from Sir Richie life in resilience. I want to go back to uh, the idea in his early formation. Of course, he has already shared the valuable lessons he has learned from. He names 13 mentors, 13 people in his life. He names every one of them. And I'm wondering, why is it that you still remember them? You are giving back to the community. The Four Nights Academy, there's several things. Kiwani's striving for excellence, a lot of things that you do, you're giving back. But you still you are sharing your success with a few people who have been instrumental very early on in your life. Could you why do you do that, sir?
The thing is, look, I don't think I could not have done what I did all by myself. And there are obviously people who played an important role in my overall development. And I will always go back to my mother in particular, who was always there for me. And after my father died, he was like a rock who made sure that I went to school, made sure I had books, made sure I did my homework, made sure I had some little thing to eat, and was always there for me. At school, I had a number of teachers who were also very supportive. Mr. Vincent Lewis, Mr. Francis, two teachers who encouraged me a lot in sport. As a matter of fact, Mr. Lewis was a science teacher. And because I've had an interest in science, I used to spend so much time with him even after school, hours and hours, just doing experiments and learning about science. So he played an important role in my development, not only as a sports person, but as academically as well. Miss Weston, a number of teachers, Miss Carty, my cousin, Mrs. Richardson, a number of teachers. And when I started playing cricket, Guy Yearwood, who was my cricket coach, I give him tremendous kudos to what he did for myself, Aline Baptiste, and a number of other cricketers from Antigua. He did about everything for us. He used to prepare the pitches that he wanted for us. He actually used to encourage us to come and live with him during school vacation so that we can have more time learning the game and practicing even more and stuff like that. And he was one of the most positive person that I've ever come across. Another Antiguan cricketer by the name of Taddy Arundel, we call him the Ayatollah because of how tough he was. He used to take us running on that golf course just down there. It's very hilly, that's the golf course, and he used to, as youngsters, as kids, he used to take us down there running up and down the hills. And if you start to fall short or lag behind, he's going to put so much pressure on you. If you go to practice and you turn up late, he's going to tell you to do 20 laps. If after 18 you're looking a bit tired, he says, come on, you're looking tired, do 5 more, that kind of thing. But he was really tough, but he meant well for us. He wanted us to do well. I remember when I first played for Antigua, he was the lead keeper, and I was feeling a bad pad. And whenever he took the ball from the spinner, he would throw the ball as hard as possible towards me. And after a while, I'm saying, but what's wrong with this guy? He wants to kill me or what? And then suddenly I realize he obviously wants me to be sharper. And he's trying to help me in his own way. He's not telling me anything. And I started focusing more. And I became one of the best catchers on the bat. And it was because of this guy and because of what he did to me. And at first, I thought he didn't like me. But somebody else now would have believed that he didn't like them and would have probably stopped feeling there or whatever. But some of the guys that hung around like Ross and Otto, Ulysses Lawrence, they all played for Antigua. Gene Gould, Enoch Lewis, one of the best batsmen I've seen in the Caribbean. who have not played for the West Indies. In my opinion, he had more talent than Sir Richie Richards, but he didn't make it. A number of other cricketers who have helped me along the way, and of course, Aldine and I played for combined schools, and he was my captain, and he mentored me a lot, even when we actually both played for the West Indies at the same time. We made the tour to India in 1993 together, and he mentored me a lot. Even when he stopped playing for the West Indies, he'd call me and give me advice and stuff. So a number of people who have really supported me along the way. And these are people who I'm extremely and eternally grateful for. Whenever I get an opportunity to give them something back in terms of thank yous and stuff like that, I'm more than happy to do so. Hugh Gore was also a great mentor. He played for the Leeward Islands, played for West Indies under 19, great mentor, very strong, tough character. And I just wish we had some more of these characters today in our game. These guys were mentally tough, strong, they train hard, and they helped to mold us, you know. So we're not seeing these characters today, you know. So I'm grateful to all these people who have really supported me over the years. And I think without them, I would not have made it into the game. So yeah, that's it. You know, and that's why I get involved with a lot of charities because people dedicate their time and effort to me, and I just want to do the same. And at the same time, I really enjoy. I've always enjoyed working with youngsters. Even when I was a youngster, I would spend time to help the younger kids and stuff like that. So today, I am part of, or I'm the president of the Striving for Excellence Golf Development program right here at Cedar Valley. We have a number of kids. We do not only push them in golf, we teach them about life skills and how to handle themselves and manage themselves. And we also created opportunities for them to go abroad to colleges and university, mainly in the US. I'm also a committee member for the Kiwanis Club of Antigua. It's a charitable organization. It's worldwide. Started in Canada, and we raise funds for kids. We also adopted a program called the Bright Minds Project, where we focus on kids that are mentally challenged, and we provide treatment for them, make arrangements for them to see doctors, and we provided financial support to their families and stuff like that. And of course, we have the Four Nights Cricket Academy, which we're still in the process of putting together with all the Four Nights of Antigua and Barbuda. And we see this, we wanted to make a contribution to the development of cricket in not only Antigua and Barbuda, but the Caribbean. So we also have some concerns about the way cricket is in Antigua and the Caribbean. And we believe that we can put a program together where we can change things and we can really start working with kids from a very young age to develop them holistically, give them all the necessary support so that they can go out there and represent the West Indies. We also, it's not just an academy for Antigua and Barbuda. It's an academy. It will be a roving academy where we would probably we'd go to India and set up for a few months, or to North America or South Africa, Sri Lanka, wherever. That's our intentions. We also will be doing a lot of merchandising. We also Antigua is a tourist destination, so we would create packages where parents and families can come as well. And whilst the kids are being coached, they can enjoy our beautiful beaches, our beautiful hospitality, our beautiful weather, and stuff like that. So we're very excited about that. We're still putting plans in place. We're looking for some investors. So if you know of anybody who is interested in becoming partners with us, Striving for Excellence, let them know. You can give them my number, or you can be the agent, and we can start something. So we're very passionate about that, and we believe that we can make a difference in West Indies cricket.
Amen. Thank you, sir. We want to quickly move on. Thank you so much for all that you do, giving back to the community. We want to play a clip because you mentioned about Guy Yearwood throwing the ball at you. It's the appropriate thing to learn something that you have mentioned in your book. And I want to play this clip so that people can see what you were not just a batsman and a bowler, but you were also Irfil. Can you play the clip, please? Just a minute. Yes. Go ahead.
Everybody can see, right?
Yes. Go ahead.
Yes. Correct. Oh, what a good catch. Boone is gone. It's a lovely catch. Splendid piece of cricket. And the man who might well have been 12th man in this game, Richie Richardson, has taken it wide on his right-hand side.
Beautiful catch by Richie Richardson. Thick edge this from Boone, but it went quickly. And it went to the right hand of Richardson, but watch him go. Dive slightly forward, full length to his right there. And I think the look on the face there of the fast bowler Marshall tells the story. In the air, great catch, beautifully taken. Richie Richardson ecstatic, as is Marshall.
Caught it. Richardson has caught him. Down at third slip. Wood goes. Caught Richardson, bowled by Holding. Australia 3 for 99.
What a blow just before tea. The best laid plans of the West is not going agley in this instance, as that ball was fed outside the off stump, found the outside edge and flew into the slips. A carefully planned, thought out piece of strategy, successful at an absolutely vital time as Richardson takes the catch.
Yes, good catch. Good catch. That Richardson, they haven't missed anything, the West Indians, in 2 test matches. What have we had? 18, 19, over 20 catches taken now and not one put down.
And not all of them have been simple. In fact, most of them have been as difficult as this one. The ball angled across Alderman, the ball travelling with tremendous speed, and that ball going very, very low indeed to Richie Richardson at third slip. And Richardson going down and picking it up with the greatest ease. What a great pair of hands.
Lovely catch, going forward as well. He's pretty good at this. Must be on the balls of his feet when that ball comes off the outside edge.
Edge, oh, what a catch! What a fantastic catch, going to hit that ball down the leg side. It got an edge, it put a Richardson a slip. It took one of the best slip catches you will ever see. A magnificent catch.
A superb catch, Bill, that one. He was looking to get it away on the leg side, and for a slip fieldsman, that's terribly difficult. Look at Richardson, airborne, going to his left, and took it just like plucking cherries. A magnificent piece of work by the third slipman.
And well taken there by Richie Richardson. A marvellous catch, and Steve Brixton very disappointed with himself. Clipped that one virtually off the face of the bat, and the youngster has taken a brilliant diving catch.
Unbelievable catch. He got him in the first innings at second slip. This time he's got him at leg slip, and have a look at this for a catch. He got plenty of bat onto that. He whipped it away, and the youngster threw out the right hand and took a gem of a catch.
Good catch. It'll get into classic catches for this year. A beautiful piece of work there. He's got a marvellous pair of hands there.
Well, I think lesson you talk about in your book is focus. How, is it through ball being thrown at you? How did you learn focus in your life?
A lot of practice, and the way we used to practice catching, it was really tough. If you don't focus, you'll be killed. Because Clive Lloyd used to hit the ball so hard at you. Toddy Arundel, who I mentioned about earlier, the Ayatollah, used to hit the ball or throw the ball very, very hard at you from very close range. So it means you had to be focused, because if you're not focused, you could break a finger, you could get in the face and stuff like that. So it's how we prepare, and because the preparation was so tough, if you were not focused, if you weren't able to focus, then it means that you would struggle. So I think that is down to how we prepare, and also belief as well, because when I feel led, I used to, every catch that I took, I believe that the catch was going to come, even that short leg. If you don't think the catch is going to come, then you're not going to catch it. When it comes, you're going to be surprised. And I'm particularly proud about those two catches of Rickson, I believe, because Malcolm Marshall and I was rooming at the time, and Malcolm Marshall was one of the most educated cricketers that I've ever known, and he knew the game, and he knew exactly how to work with every single batsman, and we will discuss that. So when I took those catches off him, it was a setup, and I knew it's a plan that we had and a plan that worked, and we'd speak about these plans over and over again. The thing is, Rickson was very leg side-ish. So America was very good at bowling the outswinger. And we spoke about pitching the ball just about leg stump, outside leg, and Rickson is gonna flick. And when you look at that clip, and I remember everybody else was looking down the leg side, including Roger Harper, who was next to me, Viv Richards, the Ricky Paduja, and they were looking down towards fine leg. And then when I took that catch, they were all surprised. But myself and Malcolm Marshall knew because we had that plan. And so it's all about preparation and all about being ready and all about believing in your plan and believing that a catch is going to come. And that's how I did it, looking for everything. And, usually later on in the day, you tend to get tired and you're just hoping that no catches come your way. My approach was like, it's going to come. And that's when it's going to come. And that's when you're going to catch it. So, yeah, to me, it's all about preparation and just believing in your plan.
Yeah, thank you. You also mentioned about watching the bowler's hand coming through to the bat and then to you in your book.
Yes, I never used to like to feel it firstly because when you feel it firstly, you tend to watch the ball coming. And then if there's a nick, then it's like you're watching the ball and you're suddenly going to watch the edge of the bat. And then that, for me, it puts me off. So I'd rather feel like from second to third or even gully. So I just watch the bat and then react whenever I saw the ball. So I don't know if you're talking about catching or if you're talking about bowling, batting. Or I didn't quite get the question.
Well, I think in the book you mentioned that you, as a slip fielder, you watched all the way.
Yeah. I mean, like if I'm like at first or second slip, you watch the ball. Of course, you have to watch the ball. I mean, but yeah, at first, second, you watch the ball from the bowler's hand. But then when you start to get wider, like at second, third, or third and fourth slip, it's very difficult to watch the ball because of the angle. It's very, very difficult to watch the ball from the bowler's hand. So I would just watch the batter and watch the ball into the bat.
Okay, thank you, sir. So let me finish here and take some questions from. I don't think we will probably have time. So this was the question that Tinu has already asked. How did you painfully learn the art of work-life balance? So we will move forward. See if I can. I have one other question before. I won't talk about the musician, but there was one thing that we would like to know that I want to share. Okay. Sir Richie, the peacemaker. This picture is, I read the caption. It says, Sir Curtley was upset with Steve Waugh, and you are pulling his hand you probably are friends. But I want to share, but I also read about in the book, and I saw the article as well, that you were called upon to reconcile the difference between Virat Kohli and Steve Smith. What is I love peacemakers, and I believe that is the essence of Jesus Christ. Whenever I see that quality in people, I see Christians. I see the Christ in them. So would you share one insight that stirs you and people recognize, ICC recognize? That's why they called upon you. Could you share with us, please?
Look, I am who I am, and as I said before, I gave my mother credit for me being the person that I am. Because if you knew her, she was the most peaceful person on God's earth. She was the most beautiful human being I've ever known. And she never, ever had any beef with anyone. She never got angry with anyone. If somebody did her wrong, you just pray for them and say, God will take care. She never really got angry with anybody. She was always very peaceful. If there's an argument, she would be the first person to try and diffuse it. And I learned all these things from her, and that's just the way she was. I mean, it wasn't very easy for us back in the day. A lot of people struggled, and there were often conflicts, but she always found a way to diffuse whatever conflicts people may have, friends, families, and stuff like that. So I think I learned that from her. And I was like that throughout my life. At school, I never got into any fights. I never got detentions. I never got into any strife or stuff like that. And I just love people. I love to see people get on. Sports is very competitive, and people can become very agitated and angered by certain things. But you have to learn in life, you have to learn to control that aggression, because then if you can't control that aggression, things can escalate and become dangerous, or you do things that you would regret afterwards. So I often think of what would happen if I do not control myself. And so I always look at the consequences before I take certain actions. And so I try to instill that in people. And if I see a situation growing to become very difficult, I get involved in a very calm, peaceful way. I respect you, because you have to show people respect as well. And one of the things I often say as a match referee to players and captains, look, we want you to be competitive, we want you to play hard, but the most important thing is that we have to respect the rules and the regulations and the integrity of the game. There are millions of people watching us, whether live or on television, watching us, and we have a responsibility to these people. Of course, they want to see you be aggressive and whatever, but we have to stick to the rules and the regulations. The match officials are in a position to work with you. We're not against you. We're not policemen. Some players think that the match referee is out there to find them and to get them. No, no, no. We have a responsibility to work with the players to make sure that the integrity of the game is protected. We do all that we have to do. The players are well behaved, and we have to protect the reputation of the game as well. Cricket is a great game that we all love. We've all benefited from it tremendously as players and the fans. So tremendous enjoyment. So it's our responsibility as match officials and players to protect the game and continue to grow the game. And that's my approach, and I'm very passionate about that. And so I try to build relationships with all the players, all the captains, all the players. It's very important. It's very important to have. If you have a relationship, then you can relate better with players. And we all, and I like to say, we all part of the same team, because we're all serving the game, but just in different capacity. And that is my approach. And because of my approach, I think I usually have a very good relationship with all the teams. I get tremendous respect from the players, and it's because I give them that respect as well. If I see that they're doing something wrong, I'll find a nice way of going to them quietly and say, well, look, we know that this is not right. Let us, once you have that relationship, it's very easy for you to relate with these players. But of course, there are certain things that happens and you have to take action. But at the end of the day, as match officials, we just want to see a smooth game where players play hard, a great game, everybody enjoy themselves, and there are no incidents, there are no negative incidents, and that's what we stand for.
Thank you so much. There's a lot I would recommend this book. We probably will learn some things. I've notes done all over here. This is an amazing life. It comes from two amazing parents, and that's why I see all this thread of connections of how he learned being present, how he learned peace, seeing his father loved in the village, seeing his mother being loving person. This is something that in the first 12 years of our lives, where our life is formed and stored in the subconscious mind, that we draw from in our adulthood. So formation is so important, and he is exemplified in the role of parenting that he's able to do now with his son and his children and his grandchild that he talks about. We have some questions from here. Let me go to two Pakistani brothers, Pastor Arif and Ijaz, asking the same question. Who was the most difficult fast bowler or bowler? Forget fast bowling. Who was the most difficult bowler that you have faced?
I have to say, in terms of fast bowling, Richard Hadley was to me, one of the most difficult fast bowler. You could see what he was doing because you watch the ball and you see what's going to happen, but still, it's such a perfect delivery. It's difficult for you to counter. You know it's going to be out swinger. You know it's going to be in swinger, but still, it's just very, very difficult to counter. And he was so accurate, always on target. Wasim Akram was a great artist, very difficult bowler, very whippy action, difficult for you to see what he was going to do. Swung the ball very, very late, deceptively fast. Yeah, he was also very, very difficult. In terms of spin, I would have to say Abdul Qadir was the most mystical bowler that I've ever faced. We just didn't know what he was going to bowl. And he had a lot of charisma and he was aggressive, competitive. But at the same time, he was a super guy. After the game, he'd come and have a chat with you and stuff like that. So in terms of spin, Abdul Qadir, I think, was the best. Of course, Shane Warne became the best leg spinner, best spinner in the world. But when I played against Shane Warne, he was upcoming. So that's why I don't really. But after I played against him, he became the best leg spinner in the world. But in my prime, the most difficult was Abdul Qadir, and I'm talking about outside of the West Indies, and of course Wasim Akram and Richard Hadley of New Zealand as seam bowlers.
Yes.
I also have to add, the most difficult bowlers for me to face ever were the bowlers who were bowling, as Jeffrey Burkett would say, diddly dobblies. Those bowlers I hate. I couldn't cope with them. I mean, like a Graham Gooch, no disrespect. Graham Gooch was a good outswing bowler, but because of the pace, anybody who bowls that very slow pace, I just couldn't cope. It was just very, very difficult for me.
Unpredictable, which is why one of our Indian the way we won the World Cup in '83 was Mohinder Amarnath and Roger Binney. The pace that was probably.
And there was another guy, Balwinder Singh Sandhu.
Sandhu, yes.
He bought me a ball in India, right? And up to this day, I've never seen a ball behave the way it did. The ball would have moved in the air in different directions about 5 times before it came to me. And eventually, I just played straight forward and the ball in the middle of the bat. But the ball did so much. I was bamboozled. I mean, I've never seen anything like that. But because of the pace, the ball has time to do a lot of stuff in the air. So, but it's just my nature. I grew up playing in Antigua on some really fast tracks and a lot of fast bowlers got here. Well, I recall I used to be very defensive. I used to be very defensive batsman. I modeled myself from my cousin, Everton, who was quite defensive. Nobody could get him out. And I said to myself, well, it's not a bad thing for you to be batting all day, And I started modeling myself from him playing defensively. And then one afternoon, we were practicing in St. John's with Guy Yearwood, and he had plans for me. He prepared the pitch himself, so he prepared a really fast track, got some brand new balls, and he told all the spinners, look, you guys can take a break for the day. And he's put me into bat first and gave about 8 fast bowlers new balls and said to them, any one of you who pitches the ball up, I'm going to take you off and I'm going to send you home. So everything must be short. And I started batting, and I started becoming scared because pitch was fast and everything was coming towards my head. And I said, well, somebody want to kill me. He's like, they're going to kill me. And suddenly I said to myself, well, the only way to really take on these guys and not to get killed is to start hooking. And I suddenly started hooking. I don't know how come I was able to play the hook shot, but I said that was my only defense, was to start hooking. And I can recall some trees along the road, not far from the park. Branches were being broken from trees into the road. There was traffic jam and people stopped driving and everybody was watching. And I was in a zone. It was all surreal, and I was just hooking everything. Every shot ball was just going into the trees, into the pond, into the buildings in St. John's. And then when I was finished batting, guy came to me and he used a few expletives and said, "No, you are definitely going to play for Antigua." And I would never forget that. And that same year, I got called for Charles, and the rest is history.
Wow. Yes. Uh, it's a little more than an hour. We are so grateful for your time. I want to still give time for Tino and Gary. If they have any cricketing questions, they are in the zone, still coaching. Tino is coaching with MRS Space Foundation, and Gary is coaching WPL team in India. Feel free to ask, sir, whenever you need to leave, you can leave. We are so grateful. Several of them have written here. We are so happy to see live, um, uh, to see you live, simply. So please feel free to let us know. Yeah. Tino, do you have any last question? Gary, do you have any last question?
See Spring online. I see Spring online and eating.
Sorry?
Share some of that mangoes. My good friend Springer, man, he used to he's from St. Kitts now living in Antigua. And I can recall when I went to St. Kitts as a youngster, he used to be always there supporting us, making sure we got all that we wanted. And if he had to bowl to us in the nets, he was always there. So Springs, man, I want to thank you very much as well, man. You are a true Caribbean man, very supportive of Leeward Islands cricket, West Indies cricket, and now cricket in Antigua and Barbuda. You didn't hear me.
Go ahead.
Gary again. Thank you so much for your time. It's been fascinating. It really has been. I just wanted to just to briefly ask you about your transition from a player into what you and how long it took you sort of getting into match refereeing, and then how did that come about?
Well, to be honest, I never really had any aspirations to become a match referee. I've always wanted to be involved in the game to make some sort of contribution to the game. And I was managing the West Indies team when I remember Andy Pycroft, and I was just speaking to him earlier, asked me if I would be interested in match refereeing. And I said, well, never thought of it, but well, why not? It's being part of the game, supporting, the game. And as manager, I developed a good relationship with all the umpires and the match reps and stuff like that. So we had very good relationship. And Andy said to me, look, we think that you could be a good match referee. And one of us, I think it was Russian, he was planning to retire or resign or something like that. And he said, perhaps you should apply to the ICC when the opportunity came. And I said, okay, I'll think about it. And in Russian, I met Russian as well, and Russian said, he's planning to move on, and they think that I would be an ideal replacement. So I said, okay, well, I would do that. So of course, I applied with the thousands and thousands of match referee for the position, and I didn't think that I was going to get it. But then when I got the call and I was told that I was part of the, what do you call it? They had narrowed it down to maybe 100 or whatever, and I was part of that. So then I started thinking seriously about it. And then when I got another call again for an interview, I was very excited. I was very nervous because they sent me a number of tests and exams to do. It was really, it was tough. And at the same time, we were having a hurricane and I was home alone. And so having to do these tests and having to go through a hurricane and prepare my house and all that was tests. It was tough, but I did that. And then it was about 3 or 4 tests, I think. And then I did an online verbal test as well. And then they told me that I got the job. I was really excited. Of course, I was nervous when I started, but I quickly embraced it and started paying attention to what needed to be done. It wasn't easy because I was still looking at it from a player's point of view, having been a player, but I quickly realized that I have to differentiate how I look at things. I had some challenges because um, as a player, you learn certain things, you understand certain things as a player. But from a match official, from an umpire, it's slightly different. You have to view things differently. So I had some challenges initially, but I quickly learned the ropes and get to understand how the umpires work, how the other match referees work, and what was expected of me. And I've been enjoying it ever since. Not sure how much longer I'm going to go on, but it's still a lot of fun. I still enjoy traveling the world, working with players, meeting old friends, and meeting young people. And one of the things I do as well, I mentor a lot of aspiring match refs. I embrace them, tell them what I know, teach them what I know, share information with them all the time. We do that all the time. So, I think it's all about helping other people. You're not going to be around for forever. And it's very important to pass on knowledge and information to others.
Wow. Thank you. Coaches, you're listening how he has given himself, his life has been shared by so many people around the world. Um, Before you go, sir, again, there is one question. There are several questions, but I want to be also be mindful of what you have mentioned about no controversial topics. Here is one question about your personal interest in music from Anand. You are known to be the spirited, along with Sir Curtly. How does music influence your life today and your mindset? That's a question he's asked.
As a West Indian, music is an integral part of us. It's part of our core. Whatever we do, it's music is involved, and it helps us with our rhythm, our timing, and stuff like that. And as a youngster, when I'm working out, we listen to music. When you're meditating, you listen to certain types of music, and it's usually either calypso music, soca music, or reggae music, which is Caribbean music. And if you were to attend a cricket match in the Caribbean, it's just all about music, and it's just very much part of our culture, part of our upbringing, and it just helps us to do what we do. It keeps us energized, keep us lively, keep us enthused, and it's very much part of us. When I was going to school, secondary school, I was comprehensive school, we had two teachers from Venezuela, and they introduced the pacho, which is a four-string instrument, small, similar to guitar, but much smaller, to us. And I took a liking to it, but then they left to go back to Venezuela, didn't come back. And then, so whenever I saw someone with a guitar, of course, the guitar, I would ask them if I could borrow it, and I would learn to hold a couple of chords and stuff like that. And I bought myself a chord book and started learning the whole basic chords like C, F, and G, and then started practicing a few songs. And then eventually I bought my first guitar. And by then I was playing for the West Indies, and I would play by myself. Curtly Ambrose and I were rooming. And then he liked music as well, so he eventually bought a bass guitar, and he bought a few more instruments, and we started making a lot of noises in hotels, and kicked out a few times. But we wanted to, and we said, we said once we retired, we would form a band. And then so I think, well, obviously I retired before him. And then before he retired, I had a bar restaurant on a beach, and I decided I was gonna a celebration party with him and Courtney Walsh, two partners in crime, for their celebration of 1,000 wickets together. And so we got this band called Dread and the Baldhead to play, and part of it was Curtly and I was to do a feature appearance. And we did, and it went on very, very well. And so we said, definitely we're going to form a band after Curtly retired. Then after Curtly retired now, I called the leader from Dread and the Baldhead and said, look, can we borrow some equipment because we want to start practicing and form a band? And he said, well, thanks for calling. I was going to give you a call because the old Dread and the Baldhead is no more. And I would like for you guys to join the Dread and the Baldhead. And we said, yes, of course. And we started practicing right here where I'm sitting now, and making a lot of noise, and neighbors weren't happy because it wasn't sounding like music. But we really wanted to become a proper band. So we kept practicing, with the neighbors. And eventually, we got better, And then we made our debut at the same Lashings. It went down very well. And then we used to play there every week. And then we started making records. We made about 3 or 4 records, so we're quite good. And then after a while, the leader from Jet and the Ballad, he said, well, he's gonna do something different, and he doesn't want to be involved anymore. So we formed Spirited from the other members, and Spirited still going today. Curtly Ambrose. So Curtly Ambrose on bass, I'm on guitar. We have a few other members who are quite good, and we've done quite a few tours to the UK. We've been to the UK about 3 or 4 times. Been to Canada, the US, around the Caribbean. So I think we need to visit Asia. We need to do India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan on a tour. So maybe you guys can put something together and we can come and do a cricket tour one of these good days.
Thank you again for sharing that part of the story. We have Coach Vernon who wants to ask you. He's probably one of the fellow Antiguan. Coach Vernon, I can't see you. Can you please unmute and ask? Kajanan, can you spotlight him, please?
I don't think his mic is.
Yeah, good day to everyone. And I think it is indeed an honor. Sorry, guys, to be late, but we have a Leeward Islands T20 festival taking place in Antigua and Barbuda at the Sir Richie Richardson Stadium. So today was an off day and had to get some things done, but I really had to rush in to try to be able to make sure that I share contribution. I too, Dr. Thomas and the entire panel, want to thank Dr. Sir Richie Richardson for his contribution, because when Sir Richie Richardson made his debut in St. Kitts at the point in time for the Leeward Islands, I started with the Leeward Islands as a trainer. I think I could remember that, and I think you guys would know the rest is history. So I've always dedicated my life basically to West Indies cricket and to cricket in general by helping young people through sports. And I could call up the days when the Leeward Islands Cricket Association didn't have any money. And Richie and Viv and Hugo and those guys used to put together and buy my ticket so that I could move around with the team. And, today I stand tall to be able to come back and be able to applaud Sir Richie Richardson. Every time he calls me and he wants something done, I put my hand up and really go and get that done. In fact, during those times, Sir Richie Richardson is the first cricketer that branded himself. So he had a cricket bag, and that cricket bag had in all of the floppy hats. And you'll always tell me, Springs, you know your role, right? That's your bag. So I had to take care of that. Number of times I was the salesman also on tour, selling hats and anything else that Sir Richie Richardson had. But Richie really was a businessman. And at the point in time when he was playing for the West Indies team, the commercial aspect and what we've seen in the business of sports, Dr. Sir Richie Richardson was way ahead of everybody. And maybe had Cricket West Indies at the point in time paid attention to what Sir Richie Richardson was doing, in the commercial aspect of the world of cricket, I think we might have been a lot more better off. You're talking about $1 billion industry. You're talking about greats. You're talking about Richie Richardson, the four Sirs, Andy Roberts, Richie Richardson, Viv Richards, Curtly Ambrose. When those guys go on a tour, and you combine that with a Garfield Sobers, a Wes Hall, a Brian Nara, just look at the impact that you're talking about there. And sometimes I think in the Caribbean, I don't think these guys really get the level of respect that they're supposed to get. The administrators, to me, are threatened by the contribution that these guys would have made. And I say that because if I put Sir Richie Richardson, Viv Richards, Curtly Ambrose, Garfield Sobers, Usain Bolt, all of them on an airport, and we line up all of the prime ministers from the Caribbean, nobody's even going to look at the prime ministers. Everybody's going to be looking at the sportsmen, right? And the politicians themselves, some of them can't deal with that because they think that they're supposed to be high and mighty. But we in the Caribbean still have not really got a grasp to understand the power of sports and the impact as to what people like Sir Viv and Richie make when they go to India, to Pakistan, to England. We don't understand that. We talk it, but we don't really understand what it means. Richie Richardson came in a time when they were playing regional cricket, Dr. Thomas, those guys barely got 100 US a game. Now, players in the Caribbean are making 2,000 US a game for a 4-day competition. That is because of the contribution that Sir Richie Richardson and those guys would have made. So to have Sir Richie Richardson joining this platform is really an honor today. And I think all of the coaches and all the persons who witness this conversation today will be pretty much enlightened by Sir Richie's journey. To the point now that, hey, the book alone speaks for itself, right? And I think that's just only part one of the book. I think when Sir Richie Richardson gets an opportunity to write part two, and maybe in a couple of years' time. But I just want to also salute him, and so you guys understand the role that he's made. He's very much involved in golf. And so there's an excellent golf program in Antigua and Barbuda striving for excellence. Now, what happens at the Cedar Valley Golf Course is remarkable. And here's where I know that the Cricket Association missed the trick. When you go to the Cedar Valley Golf Course, you have Sylvester Bouncing Joseph, Hayden Walsh, Sir Viv, Richie Richardson, Eldine Baptist, a number of players. All of those young people and their parents who go to Cedar Valley Golf Course, you're looking at a disciplined set of boys and girls who are rubbing shoulders with Sir Viv, Sir Richie. They're learning something. That inspires them to be one day as great as Richie Richardson or as great as Sir Viv, because they're automatically playing golf. I think the Antigua and Barbuda Cricket Association missed a trick by not having these guys around, even in a junior mentorship program in Antigua and Barbuda. Even right here, we got the West Indies Cricket Academy. The West Indies Cricket Headquarters is in Antigua and Barbuda. Why have we not used Sir Viv and those guys as mentors? They don't have to become as coaches, but you can identify one or two players and say, well, come. I've been saying to my CEO over the Antigua and Barbuda Falcons, I said, we need to engage Sir Richie Richardson not only as an ambassador for the Falcons, but we have young Joel Andrew. We need to have a conversation to get Sir Richie Richardson to mentor Joel Andrew because he's 18 years old. So Sir Richie will be able to take him on the golf course, teach him about life, because the amount of money that is involved in the game and is going to be involved in the game in the next 3-4 years, if he is not managed properly, you know what could be happening. And so that's why we need somebody like Sir Richie Richardson to be able, and Viv, realistically timely role to help some of these youngsters. I just thought that I would make that contribution. And thanks again, Sir Rich.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Springs.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Springs, good to hear you, man. And thanks very much for your support over the years from way back down in St. Kitts, selling those Sir Richie Richardson hat. Yeah, so and also what your contribution to sports in the region. I said it before, I don't know if you heard me. Your contribution to sports development in starting in St. Kitts, in Antigua, the Little Islands, and of course the West Indies, and now with the Antigua and Barbuda Falcons, of which I'm also a part of. So always happy to hear from you, Springs, and keep up the great work.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, sirs. Thank you, Sir Richie, for your precious, valuable time. There's so many people commenting here that they've been so happy to see you. On the call. Here the lessons of life that is often, it's like roots that the tree is seen, but the roots are not seen. And it's drawing nourishment from things that have been curated over decades. And as I read your story, I was, there was a lot of connection. One is I'm a lover of science. I did my science degree in chemistry, and I never would have imagined that you would love hard science. And so many points of connection, and one thread that ties you is the level of leadership that is being very well curated, nurtured in the home, that from your dad and mom, that is now impacting not 400 people in 5.5 villages, but rather 400 million people now being affected. And when you walked up to receive the prize or the thing at the T20 World Cup as the chief match referee, my heart leaped, and I told my wife, I know this person. He has written forward for my book, and it's a small thing but it's a big thing for me. And I want to thank you, salute you. And I
Thank
really,
you.
really hope that you will come back one day because there is so much more to be unpacked from this book. And thank you, guys. Thank you, Brother Victor. Thank you, Hasti. Thank you, Kajanan, Irfil, Wasim, all those back end people who have helped seamlessly to make this a wonderful podcast. Again, thank you, coaches. So thankful. Let me say a word of prayer and finish this time. Lord, I thank you that you're a God who creates us and gives us the ability to create beautiful things. This flows from you. And so I thank you for Sir Richie's life and the way he has been nurtured by two beautiful parents, loved by everybody. That love does not have a human source, it has a divine source. It's the love of God that was flowing, that took him to Sunday school, that took him to church because of the mother's discipline. That is now bearing fruit in Sir Richie's life as a disciplined man around the home, around his country, how he proudly represents the country and speaks about the right things that has made him as an arbitrator, as a person to do the right thing for the game of cricket. Still carrying sportsmanship, friendship, relationship as the primary thing that holds everything together. And that's you, God. We honor you, we acknowledge you as the source of wisdom, as the source of our energy for our bodies that Sir Richie has talked about being burnt out without the energy source that is flowing through our soul emotionally. I pray blessings over his family, with his wife Arlene, and Lord, with his grandchild and children. Lord, may he continue to serve this humanity because God became human, not to establish Christianity, but to redeem humanity. And so we bless him in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Thank you for all our coaches. Thank you for this wonderful group of people eager to learn. We are taking away so many things that have deeply touched our lives. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I just say thank you, Pastor Thomas, for can I say Pastor Thomas? You just don't like a
Well,
pastor.
yes,
Yeah.
I'm an ordained pastor as well.
Okay. Yeah. So just want to thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be part of this forum. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoyed sharing some of my experiences, my knowledge, and just who I am with you all. And I want to also thank everyone for listening and being so attentive. Um, I'm all about people. I'm all about life. I'm all about love, and I'm all about sharing. So all the very best, and I'm hoping that we can do this again sometime. And perhaps you can arrange something in Antigua. You guys can all come and Springs and I will host you guys in Antigua, and we can have a little program in Antigua, whoever can make it. So
Yeah,
I think that would be a wonderful thing, So all the
absolutely.
best to each and everyone, to you and your families. Do enjoy, and I look forward to catching up real soon again. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time. Yes.
Ciao.
Yes, for those who are hanging on here, again, I'm so thankful to you for your time with us. Thank you to Tinu and Gary. We really, really appreciate uh, being with us. And all those who have shared this uh, cross face, well, I need to go off Facebook. We were Facebook Live. Facebook listeners, thank you. I really hope that you have got a little bit of glimpse of a man who we will continue to see, at least as a match referee. And We really hope. Here is a snoop. Coach Vernon, thank you for giving me these phone numbers. You gave me the phone number of Andy Roberts, my hero when I was growing up. I was trying to bowl at his speed and ended up always bowling less than Mohinder Amarnath's speed. But anyway, I was able to have a conversation with him yesterday. He picked the phone and he called me back. And I told him that we are doing something with Sir Richie. And I said, I would want you also to come and share with us. And he said, okay, yes, yes, one day I will. And so thank you. Thank you for sharing those personal numbers with me, trusting me. And I really appreciate you, dear brother. So hopefully we'll have many such conversations. We want to connect cricket with life and leadership. And I want you to take this seriously as we look into reaching people. It is not about religion. It is always about redemption of humanity. Any religious label is going to be divisive. We will not talk about religion. We will only talk about the God who became human. And it's not a philosophy, it is reality. And this is the only way we can redeem our own humanity, to become peacemakers, to become people who love and forgive. And so, blessings. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. Stay grounded in the one who became human, Yeshua. Amen. Thank you.